you want to go ahead and watch the BB files, let's make sure to support the stream. Now let's get it going with CNN.
That they were going to.
Oh, and make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way.
Attack first. They were going to attack if we didn't do it. It was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack if we didn't do it.
Caroline.
I think my mic muted when I said. Yeah, my bad. My mic keep muting every time I pause the video. But make sure y'all double tap the screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. But make sure to like the video. Let's push this channel in the algorithm because they are trying to shadow ban it. So, hey, help me fight the shadow ban by liking the video.
First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities. Second, we're annihilating their neighbor. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon.
He said that these strikes against Iran by the United States could go on for 4 to 5 more weeks. There was something else that stood out about the president's remarks.
See that nice drape?
He quickly shifted from talking about the war in Iran to talking about the construction of his ballroom happening just behind him. We hadn't yet heard from the president in person on camera until earlier today. He began his remarks by talking about what his objectives are in Iran. It's obviously incredibly important given what we've heard from his other top officials in the last 36 hours or so on what exactly they are trying to achieve in Iran and how long that could take. The United States is now urging U.S. citizens throughout the Middle East to leave now. Is it clear to you, based on what we've heard from the administration, why the United States is at war with Iran right now?
Of course, it's not clear. The objectives that they have laid out cannot be achieved in 4 days, 4 months, or 4 years. This is a growing crisis of incoherence and incompetence at the White House.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Why wasn't there an evacuation plan?
Well, because it happened all very quickly.
I wonder what you think stranded Americans...
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. One of the biggest things or the biggest criticisms was, one, we didn't try to get our people out of there, we didn't want to warn Iran, but at the same time, we put our partners or our allies, and we also put our American citizens who live in the Middle East in danger by not informing them that we were about to preemptively strike Iran.
Make of that answer.
Americans are paying the cost for this already. First and foremost, of course, the service members, some of whom have already given their lives in this conflict. Only now are they thinking about how to evacuate the Americans who are in harm's way. It just makes absolutely no sense.
We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways. But when a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but try for once to report the reality.
Operation Epic Fury has been a resounding success.
Given what Secretary Hegseth said this morning, is it the position of this administration that the press should not prominently cover the deaths of U.S. service members?
No, it's the position of this administration that the press in this room and the press across the country should accurately report on the success of Operation Epic Fury and the damage it is doing to the rogue Iranian regime.
Secretary Hegseth was complaining that it was front page news about these 6 service members who were killed.
That's not what the secretary said, Caitlin, and that's not what the secretary meant, and you know it.
As you know, we cover the deaths of U.S. service members under every president.
The press does only want to make the president look bad. The president of the United States will be attending their dignified transfer.
We're going to cover that dignified transfer.
So please,
that's not making the president look bad. That's showcasing that.
We expect you to cover that as you should. We expect you to cover that as you should, Caitlin.
The reason this is covered is obviously because these are troops who are making the greatest sacrifice that anyone can make, and also a costly reminder of why there is such extensive coverage over what's happening right now. Tonight, the Pentagon tells us the bombing campaign...
because they know the war is unpopular and they don't want to really be upfront about the deaths that's going on. They were kind of wishing that, we got the conflict over with, and then we could tell people about the deaths after. Not while the conflict is going on, so... guys like CNN here can go ahead and kind of use it against the right, and they have every right to do so. This was a bad idea. This is costing American lives, and it's continuing to do so. And God forbid there's any more. But as it stands right now, I think we're 11 soldiers dead, 300 wounded, according to recent reports. But it's not me who's saying this, guys. It's not me trying to be Mr. Doomsdayer, but to be honest with you guys, like, this is what we were warning about.
In Iran is intensifying. What would you say to Americans who are watching this tonight and are worried about how this is expanding and how long this could go on for?
I understand the concern the American people have. We literally have been at war for 47 years. Now we're taking the fight directly to...
The propaganda is real. It's like we've been at war for 47 years. So we've been in constant conflict. We've been in constant what? Ground war, air. Like, well, what have we been doing to Iran for 47 years? Please explain. How have we been engaged in war? When was war declared against Iran? Because y'all ain't even doing it now. So please tell me, like, when did this war happen? When did it begin? When was it declared? Please let me know, since this is what y'all want to ride on.
To the Iranian regime. I want to commend President Donald Trump for having the guts to pull the trigger on this.
The United States military, together with the wonderful Israeli partners, continues to totally demolish the enemy far ahead of schedule. They're saying, how do we make a deal? I said, you're being a little bit late.
Mr. President, why Markwayne Mullin? Why Markwayne Mullin, Mr. President? Don't believe he'll stay at DHS.
What led to the firing?
This is obviously monumental because she is the first cabinet member of President Trump's second term to be ousted. I've covered Trump for 10 years now. He does not like when people use money that is related to him to try to further their own image, or when they try to eclipse the president or make themselves too important. And clearly that is what ultimately happened here today and led to Kristi Noem's ouster as the DHS secretary.
And I mean, let's be real. It was the whole like affair scandal. It was the fact that she used like millions of dollars for ads and all that good stuff instead of putting use those millions of dollars to, well, kind of do her job, like, you know, what we kind of put her there to do, you know, Director of Homeland Security. So please use $200 billion to do your job and not to put out ads to make yourself look good. Like, can you not do that?
Over the past 9 days, we've carried out some of the most powerful and complex military strikes and maneuvers the world has ever seen. They were going to take over the Middle East and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing. We're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done.
There's footage that shows that a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. Will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it. The Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries, but that's being investigated right now.
The president said on Saturday to reporters that he believed it was Iran that was actually responsible for that. Our analysis of the geolocated images has said that it was the United States military that was most likely responsible. There's been no confirmation of that yet. I'm joined by
hold on now, just to be fair to us, because it's more of it was our joint strikes with Israel, and it was most likely, I'm gonna be real with you, I think it was most likely Israel that carried out that strike, and even if it was us, it was on bad information. Yeah, the truth is that we bombed that girls' school on accident because we were given bad information that, well, didn't tell us that it was converted into a girls' school 10 years ago. 10 years ago in 2016, was that girls' school was separated from that IRGC naval base and turned into a girls' school. But for some reason, we weren't given the updated satellite images on that. I wonder why.
One, but four Senate Democrats who are now threatening to voice a series of war powers votes on Iran unless the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Secretary of State Marco Rubio testify publicly about the war.
We know from the classified briefings there was no imminent threat of attack. So if there was no imminent threat to the United States, why are we at war?
Imagine you're one of these families and you're watching your...
Oh, guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video, and make sure to support the show with any question, comment, jokes, or disagreement with a super chat or a Venmo or even a Rumble rant. Let's see if we can hit that goal by the end of this video. If not, we'll just close it down and I'll go ahead and pop back up later on today.
Kid come home killed, and you hear this president make light of it, calling it an excursion. That is so insulting.
This is a sobered moment for our nation in which a president unilaterally has made a decision to bring our country into this conflict. Our body was designed to provide a check on the executive. It's time that we do it.
Economic victories in detail.
The White House press secretary fielded a bunch of questions today about the Strait of Hormuz and the rising price of oil.
The swings that we've seen based on comments made by President Trump before the markets closed, after the markets closed. One other thing that Caroline Leavitt said earlier about this prospect of the Navy escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, it is still an option if and when necessary. If you look at the markets, they may argue that time is now. Tonight, we are learning that nearly 140 U.S. service members have been wounded during the first 10 days of the war with Iran.
We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground.
A lot of people might hear that and be alarmed by your statement.
The American people deserve to hear everything. I am extremely worried and fearful after that briefing, but I was even before. There can be great military triumphs through bombing, but success requires a strategy.
Says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about it. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over.
Do you agree with President Trump when he says that he believes the United States has won the war at this point?
I think the outcome thus far has been outstanding. I'm very much aware that I'm the only Democrat in the Senate that supports this operation, and I'm going to continue to do that.
The situation with Iran is moving along very rapidly. We're doing what has to be done, should have been done. They really are a nation of terror and hate. They're paying a big price right now.
Governor, how do people in your state feel about what they're paying at the pump? Did they think it will be worth it in the long term, as the administration suggests?
Donald Trump said that he was going to lower prices. He said he was going to release the Epstein files. And he said he was not going to get us involved in foreign wars. And I think people are now seeing that each and every one of those things was a lie.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like, not really. If he didn't get us into this war, all of that would be true. Like, bro, he had gas prices down. Inflation is still at 2.4%, thank God, but jobs are down. Gas prices are up. I'm sorry, but he did not. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not really Trump lying about what he promised. It's about him pretty much, I'm gonna be real with you, walking backwards on all of his promises because of this war. And it's like, it just doesn't make sense. So, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It don't make sense just because he should have known that this war wasn't going to play out right in the economy, which wasn't going to play out right with the gas prices, which wasn't going to play out right with the American people, especially the independents and those guys in MAGA who voted for this man on the fact that he was anti-war and wasn't going to drag us into a conflict in the Middle East. That only hurts us because nobody can tell me not one thing we've gained from this war. But Lord knows we could sit here and list off all the shit we gave.
We don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait far more than ours. We get less than 1% of our oil from the Strait, so we want them to come and help us. I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. Whether I free it, take it, I think I can do anything I want with it.
Do you think the United States should, in the president's word, take Cuba?
I think what we need to do is try to hopefully get a democracy there where the Cuban people get to pick their leaders.
When it comes to Iran and what's been happening with this back and forth with the White House, House and U.S. allies. If the Strait of Hormuz doesn't open, how are oil prices in the United States going to come down?
We need to do what we're doing. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. They cannot have ballistic missiles. The main goal here is destroy their ability.
And that is why, I mean, you can see the craziness in this man's eyes, but it's just like, that is wild. Like I said, to sit there and be like, they can't have nuclear weapons. They was never going towards a nuclear weapon. They nipped that in the bud for us in 2004 with their whole religious law. And there's never been proof that they even went towards 90% enrichment. All we know is that they are at 60% enrichment, and that's due to U.S. aggression. So it's kind of, and then now we want to sit here and say, oh, well, they can't have ballistic missiles either. I'm like, bro, come on now, really? So we're moving the goalposts once again. It went from their nuclear, for them not being able to have a nuclear weapon, now to them not being able to enrich, and they can't have ballistic missiles. So basically, you're saying they can't even defend themselves, and you want them to be sitting ducks like Libya. And look how that turned out for Gaddafi. You think they're gonna go for that? Like, come on now. At this point, you might as well go with Trump's plan for an unconditional surrender.
Need to kill us.
NATO's making a very foolish mistake because we don't need them, but they should have been there. As soon as that war's over, which will be soon, your prices are going to drop like a rock.
Trump has been publicly calling on allies for help to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but he's offering no timeline and officials are providing no details.
That's been a key question that the president has been facing as he is simultaneously lashing out at U.S. allies for not helping the U.S. to do so, while also arguing that the United States doesn't need them. The other huge topic here at the White House today has been the first high-profile exit we've seen from this administration since this war started in protest over this war.
Hey, Jameson, will you take a few questions from us? Couple questions.
When you look at Joe Kent's resignation letter today, what's your reaction to his reasoning for leaving the administration?
When you blame the Israeli lobby for us going to war to Iran, I have a problem with that.
The president suggesting that the United States could leave NATO.
I mean, when Marco Rubio says that, well, Israel said they were going to strike Iran, so we just went ahead and went on with them. Yeah, I got a problem with that.
Without the consent of Congress, what goes through your mind?
Anger, because NATO is the best alliance, strongest alliance in history. If he broke up NATO, it would be a civil war in the Republican caucus.
1 or 2 questions. There's only 2 of us. Can you come on at 9 o'clock?
Make it look like they definitely smoked.
So it turns out things got very heated very quickly when Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Deputy Attorney General showed up on Capitol Hill to brief lawmakers on the House Oversight Committee on their Epstein investigation. Oof. Democrats left, and you saw them at the microphones saying that Pam Bondi wasn't answering any of their questions, as the Attorney General herself argued that Democrats weren't asking anything of substance. Can you just kind of give us your version of what happened inside the room?
The actual crux of what I was asking is, what is this? What was this arrangement? How should we engage it?
The first question that was asked was to confirm the Attorney General would come in under oath, be deposed by the committee so we can make it public to the American people. And she refused to.
Oh God, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in on this conversation by double tapping the screen, and make sure to subscribe to this channel as well, guys. Appreciate the support. Still going through the shadow ban, but hey, man, I appreciate you guys liking and subscribing to the channel still.
Answer that question.
Who want to unsubscribe you?
Iran is a serious threat to the world, to the Middle East and to the world. I think virtually every country agrees with me on that. I wanted to put out that fire. Thank you very much.
President Trump was hosting the new Japanese prime minister for the first time in the Oval Office on Thursday when he made a comment that caused some audible gasps, but a little bit of laughter inside the room by bringing up Pearl Harbor and making a joke about it.
Because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan?
That was funny.
Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
I'm crying, bro. I'm sorry, but like, oh man, that's the president we love, low key though. I ain't go cap. Like, he's funny on accident, and it's a grimy ass joke, but it's the body language, like. The fact that he said that in front of the Japanese prime minister, and she's just like, okay.
A joke about it.
Because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right?
What's your initial reaction to the Pentagon seeking $200 billion for this war? Is that something you'd vote yes on?
I support the president. We support the action. We're sick of living under the scourge of potentially nuclear war. We don't want to live like that.
Secretary Scott Bessent said today that the U.S. might suspend sanctions on.
You know, they're all saying this with no proof that Iran has nuclear weapons or no proof that they progressed towards a nuclear weapon whatsoever. You just notice that they're all saying that with such a surety that Iran's just this nuclear threat, but they're not.
Iranian oil that's already out to sea. I think some people might say, why would you ease sanctions on a country that the United States is currently at war with?
Once that oil arrives wherever its destination is, do you think that Iran's getting the check? Do you think they're going to be able to get the money?
Yes.
The money's probably going to come to the United States of America. How are they getting the money? Or is it being wired by China and by India?
Yes, because they're, nigga, are you dumb? Like, bro, they're buying it in Chinese yuan. Yes, people are buying their oil in Chinese yuan right now. So they are getting the money. Oh, yes, and also charging a $2 million fee through the Strait of Hormuz. So they are getting it. And I mean, I'm not sure if you forgot, but they have this thing called Bitcoin now. So they have ways of getting that money without us even being able to really trace it. So, yeah. I mean, they're getting that money.
Yeah, to what bank in Iran? And if there is a bank in Iran, in about 15 minutes, it can be gone.
That is who's buying their
oil.
Well,
I don't think you can assume that the terms of sale are the same as they were 20 days ago now.
Oh my God, bro. This is what I say. Like, Republicans, bro, I ain't gonna lie. You guys are the best at domestic policy, but at foreign policy, absolutely atrocious. It's like, damn near it seems like all Republicans, I mean, outside of Thomas Massey and Ron Paul, don't know what's going on outside of America. They just don't know what's going on. And that's why they lead us into these idiotic conflicts.
They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. If it goes well, we're going to end up settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out. Speaking with Mr. President. We're dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. No, not the Supreme Leader. We have not heard from the Sun, but the people that seem to be running it.
If you obliterated their nuclear sites last summer with your strikes, then how can you argue it was an imminent threat now?
Oh, we hit them so hard, we obliterated them. But that doesn't mean with the right equipment, you can't dig down and go get it. We don't want that.
What about the Strait of Hormuz? Who's going to be in control of that?
That'll be opened very soon if this works.
How soon? And who's in control of it? Will Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
Be jointly controlled.
By whom?
Maybe me. Me and the Ayatollah. Thank you very much.
Whose idea was that? To put ice in the airport?
Mine. That was mine. The Democrats are fully to blame with the struggle with the airports. We just put ICE in charge, and they're helping TSA, the agents. Who doesn't love Elvis?
Have you been here before, Mr. President, or is this your first time?
I've never been here, no. I'm a big fan of Elvis. Who isn't, right?
I just left Graceland with President Trump, which he was touring for the first time ever. At one point, the president was asked to sign a guitar and a gold Sharpie. He tested it out before he did, and then held up the guitar for everyone to see.
All right, that's nice.
We have really regime change. You know, I don't like to say this. This war has been won.
Hey.
And bro, I remember everybody was grilling them on that. Oh, the war's been won, but we're sending in more troops and continuing to strike. But the war has been won. Even though the Strait of Hormuz hasn't been opened up, even though we haven't got regime change or stopped or you know, stop Iran from firing missiles at our allies. Yeah, even though none of that's done, the war is won.
President is talking today about these ongoing talks with Iran. That comes after he was threatening to bomb their power plants and putting deadlines on that. He's now extended it to Friday. When you hear what the White House is saying, do you believe that he's looking for an off-ramp in this war?
There is evidence that, in fact, he is not talking to Iran, that's a lie stated in order to calm the stock market and to lower oil prices.
Well, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys, and make sure to subscribe to the channel as well, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way. But don't forget to double tap that screen.
Want them to hold the line, even if that means TSA agents still not getting paid.
So they need to be paid. Donald Trump is trying to cause maximum chaos and cruelty to TSA agents and all those people waiting in line in hopes that it'll make Democrats buckle and support his ICE agency. It's a president who is, again, cruel and chaotic, and he's bringing that to our airport.
That's crazy. While you guys are pretty much shutting down the government so these TSA workers can't get paid. Isn't that a bit cruel because you can't get your way with ICE? Like, why you got to sit there and hold the American people hostage? Like, how about this? Why don't y'all not take a pay? How about this? Y'all, why don't you guys take no money from your donors or anything and shut down the government that way and let the American people get their checks? Because it's kind of crazy how the Dems are holding American people hostage, but then they want to play all high and mighty with the Iran war. I mean, like, can you guys, let the TSA workers get paid again? Oh, and other members or other Americans who work under the umbrella of the DHS. Like, is that really too hard to ask for? Shouldn't y'all care more about the American people than, I'm be real with you, ICE reforms instead of, I mean, come on now. Isn't that a bit strange how they're just holding the American people hostage for ICE reforms? They probably won't even get it.
As for the temporary short-term fluctuation in gas prices, the president has said once these combat operations are over, this administration is going to continue to unleash American energy dominance. We're continuing to do that every day, and we're going to see prices at the pump go back down. The United States has been engaged over the last 3 days in productive conversations, which led the president to temporarily instruct the Department of War to postpone planned strikes against Iranian power plants.
It was when the president came out on Monday and said he was extending his deadline that he had issued for that night to blow up Iranian power plants should they not reopen the Strait of Hormuz. He extended that to this Friday. There are still questions about the deadline and if that holds and where these talks go from there. Okay, paparazzi.
I said, fellas, do you mind taking off your masks in the airport? And they took them off. And they're helping the people with their bags. They're moving things along. People are starting to say, ICE, you're nice guys. We really appreciate it.
We've seen the president saying that Iran really wants to make a deal. The White House today, even when asked who exactly they're speaking with, still haven't said who that person is. Do you think these talks are genuine, or do you think the president is buying time?
Well, it could be he's buying time, but the chances of reaching an acceptable agreement with this regime, no matter how many of their leaders we have killed, is zero.
Huh. First sensible thing John Bolton has said about this war. First thing.
Story today that I'm desperate to make a deal. I'm the opposite of desperate. I don't care. They said yesterday that we weren't negotiating with them, and now they admit that we were negotiating with them. So they want to make a deal. The reason they want to make a deal is they have been just beat to shit.
Which is true, though. They have been beaten and battered, but they're still going and they still maintain a closure of the Strait of Hormuz. They're still able to fire off rockets, still able to send off drones to terrorize our allies in the region. So, like I said, as much as he says that, I mean, is that really, helping us progress towards this war? And like I said, as he says that, I'm like, well, if that's our goal, can we leave then? Because we did a pretty good job. But like I said, it does sound like they want to just put troops on the ground to effectuate either regime change and to get a handle on their enriched uranium.
President Trump just extended his deadline for Iran to blow up their power plants if the talks with the United States don't proceed as he wants them to by another 10 days. When you look at what is happening in the region, the force built up, do you think we're more likely than not to put U.S. forces on the ground in Iran?
At this moment, I would say the dynamic is toward troops on the ground, because the President of the United States never sends armed forces to a region without some plan to use them that way. I can tell you without disclosing any classified information.